Welcome to the Holiday Podcast, where we sit over some homemade challah on Friday afternoons here at my dining room table. I'm your host, Tammy, priest, a Jewish follower of Jesus, and it's great to be with you this week as we take another look at this intersection of the old and the new. So I'm wearing this heart shirt today because my heart is really happy today. My daughter is coming home tomorrow after 5 weeks in a bubble for a statewide high school program, and I've missed her a lot. I'm actually wearing earrings that she got me for Christmas, just getting all geared up for her being home. And also tomorrow, my father is coming for our first visit since the summer of 2019 before COVID. So I'm definitely feeling lots of love today. But there is actually another reason I'm wearing hearts today. Tonight begins Tu B'Av, or the 15th day of the month of Av. And if you tuned in last week, you know that last week was Tisha B'Av, or the 9th of Av, which is a day of deep mourning because of all the tragedies that have happened to the Jewish people on that same exact date. From all the way back in the desert when the spies gave Moses that bad report from Canaan, all the way up to modern times when the Nazis on that same date formally approved the final solution which led to the genocide of 6 million Jews. But in stark contrast, Tu B'Av tonight is referred to as an Israeli Jewish version of Valentine's Day, the day of love, you may see in some places. And this theme started way back in biblical times. It actually used to be kind of a matchmaking day. So young women in Jerusalem would put on white dresses, all the same, so there'd be no distinction, rich or poor, and go out into the vineyards of Jerusalem and they'd dance. And unmarried men would go out to the vineyard and romances would blossom. In fact, you may remember Gamaliel from the book of Acts. Well, he's recorded as saying that there were no happier days for the people of Israel than on the 15th of Av because of this vineyard matchmaking ritual. But it's really interesting that this incredibly joyful ritual takes place right after the deep mourning of Tisha B'Av last week. And what I discovered is that they're actually connected biblically. So remember, we talked about how the first Jewish tragedy of Tisha B'Av was when the spies returned from Canaan and gave Moses the bad report because they were afraid of the giants, right? Well, as you probably know, God said that because of their lack of trust, all the Israelites would be stuck wandering in the desert for 40 years before they could enter the promised land, until the entire generation of people who had come out of Egypt had died. Well, 40 years later, on Tu B'Av, the dying out of the generation came to an end. So they were now free to enter the promised land. So it was such a joyful turnaround, right? From death and mourning and wandering on Tisha B'Av to abundant life in the land of milk and honey, with stable homes and building permanent community. Which makes me wonder if that's why the joyful matchmaking ritual started, of beginning families and communities in the promised land. But this turnaround from mourning to rejoicing is also such a beautiful and powerful shadow of Jesus, who takes us from our wilderness wandering and death into the joy of the promised land of his presence. And I don't think I'm far off with this comparison, or that I'm reading something into Tu B'Av that isn't there, because each new moon is marked with a festival. God refers to this in Numbers and some other places. And I learned this week that the full moon of the month of Av, tonight, is the festival of the future redemption, which anticipates and celebrates the future arrival of the Messiah. In fact, one rabbi wrote, the 15th of Av provides us the first glimmers of the full moon of Moshiach, Messiah. And with the revealed arrival of Moshiach, the 15th of Av will be truly revealed as our greatest festival. And when I read this, it makes me wonder, what did Jesus think every year as people celebrated on Tu B'Av, the Jewish love holiday, anticipating the future arrival of the Messiah, not realizing that he was already in their midst? Or what he thought about the young maidens dancing in white, waiting for their grooms, knowing that we are his bride, soon to be washed white in the blood of his sacrifice. There's so much more to this Jewish Valentine's Day in July than just a day of love, which is what people call it these days. You'll see it online. And so today, I pray that you'll think about the chant that went out when the young men and women met each other in the vineyards in Jerusalem. People would sing, "Lift up your eyes and see which you will choose." And so I pray that we would lift up our eyes and see the one who chose us, that we would accept his great gift of love and ponder it and share it with those around us in word and in deed on this Challah